So I'm a meticulous planner when it comes to my video and film projects. I spend weeks, sometimes even months, thinking over concepts, shots, and how I want to tell my stories. Sometimes that is necessary, but a lot of the time, it's just a procrastination technique. I recently was forced out of this bubble when a buddy of mine who owns a local studio called Kingdom Studios connected me with a model who's named Charisma who came in from out of town, and I had to come up with a concept and a story in just a few hours so that she brought the right outfits and knew what we were doing before she took off. And I had about 10 hours beyond that to really iron out my shot list, lighting plan, and setup. And I knew this shoot was going to either be one of my favorite things that I have shot in quite some time, or it was going to be just an unmitigated disaster. Thankfully, I already had a lot of ideas and concepts to pull from. I have a very, very extensive collection of Pinterest boards that I can pull from, as well as a document with a lot of ideas that I want to execute at various stages of planning. So I wasn't starting totally from scratch, having to pull something out of my head. I went through and found some images that inspired my creativity, and I knew that we had maybe 2 hours to shoot. And so I thought, okay, 30 minutes of setup time, 30 minutes for the concept, 30 minutes we could knock out another concept, 30 minutes another concept. Okay, we could do 3 concepts in this time. So initially I was inspired by this image, which evoked almost a mix of kind of boudoir and dance to me. I thought, this might be a fun opportunity to explore what this could look like in a small way. And the second image that really grabbed me was this image of a woman doing yoga with these really striking colored lights in kind of a moody sort of atmosphere. And lastly, seeing that we kind of had a bit of an athletic and a bit of a dance theme already going, I thought, let's do a little bit more of traditional dancing and kind of some flowy movements kind of in a vignette. So that's basically what I initially sent Charisma around 4 or 5 p.m. the day before the shoot. But my subconscious brain was working overtime for the next few hours. As I was shot listing later in the evening, I realized how much overlap there absolutely was with the 3 concepts. And I started thinking, should this just be one video? About midnight, the kind of connective tissue came together. The concept of what if this is kind of a visual representation of a woman who is starting to embrace different aspects of herself, starting to embrace self-confidence, get through some rough stuff, and really embrace that, she's a beautiful, free person and, letting go of shame, embarrassment through her dance and finding personal peace through yoga and meditation. And I really like this little idea as a way to kind of tie everything together. Obviously, with that, I needed to craft a starting point, and I conceptualized her sitting in a chair just in this dark space, completely depressed in like the worst place she's ever been in her life. And then that could kind of be the transformation where she jumps off from that point into something new. So I shifted everything around in my plan and added the beginning section. And rather than making 3 mini videos, I restructured everything to be one larger, more cohesive micro story. And then I reshot listed everything out to make sure that I'd grab all the pieces that I needed. And I will say that the shot list isn't something that I ever end up sticking to religiously because things always change on set. There's time crunches. The space may not be what I expect. I might have access to more tools and props than I thought. Actors might bring their own take on a situation. You never know. But the basic framework is so important for me because it allows me to know when I can and should deviate and when I can't and shouldn't in order to make sure that I'm keeping the overall vision and the story intact. It's also a critical fallback point if my brain blanks out, which sometimes happens. Rather than standing there not sure what I'm doing, I can go to that shot list and get back on track without losing my professionalism or wasting a lot of time or just seeming completely incompetent. So at this point, it was 2 a.m. and I hit the sack. On the morning of the shoot day, I checked and double checked my camera, my batteries, lens, lights, and made sure that everything was really locked and loaded and good to go. I also went over the shot list I'd made the previous evening and cleaned it up and made sure of what I'd written and made sure that it all made sense and I knew what I meant. In my next video, I'll get more into the gear that I chose and why, and kind of my process when choosing gear, since that's an entirely different and interesting topic. But if you enjoyed this video, continue subscribing so you don't miss that, and I'll catch you in the next video.